With the upcoming release of AC Black Flag Resync and AC Hex's gradually increasing magnitude of leaks, it seems like we are somewhat stepping away from the RPG formula of previous modern AC games. And this got me thinking if Assassin's Creed will eventually return to the RPG formula in the upcoming years. And honestly, it's probably a sure thing that the RPG creeds will return. So instead of fighting the inevitable, I instead created this simple idea brief of what I would like to see in the next RPG creeds. Okay, so before anything else, I want to note that this format is a loose rendition of the marketing briefs we create at my job. We usually make these kinds of briefs for creative requests, PR requests, and other stuff related to the projects. So aside from game mechanics, there are some bullshits here about why the company should make the game and target markets. So yeah, it's a pretty basic version, but it should suffice. I'll also present it like I'm in a briefing for the heck of it. So the title I chose is Assassin's Creed Rhapsody, but this is just a title placeholder. It's based on Bohemian Rhapsody, which is just a nod to Bohemia relating to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which is one of my favorite RPGs. It's a placeholder, so it can be changed. Anyway, let's move to the main brief. First is the why. So the why is the objective of the project, the main reason why it is being developed. If we're being 100% honest, well, it's just mainly about money. The Assassin's Creed franchise is well known and sells pretty well, and Ubisoft needs money. But if we use corpus speak, we can say that we are making this game to establish the new breed of Assassin's Creed RPGs. The initial RPG formula, which was profitable at first, became bland and too repetitive throughout the games. It was also not popular among the core target market since it strayed away from the core design philosophy of the first games. And so offering a new take on the RPG formula may be a good route to tap the core fanbase interest while also tapping into the casual market's unrelenting love for open-world RPGs. And so speaking of markets, let's proceed with the who. So who talks about the target market of the game? What is their buying behavior and how big are they? So for this project, the targets are AC fans, stealth action lovers, and immersive RPG fans. Obviously, we also do want the casual crowd, however, as a basis for the game design, these are the core targets. Now, from a quick look at Steam charts, the core target base seems to lean at an average of 400k players. This spans among games like KCD2, Cyberpunk, and the modern Assassin's Creed titles. While Cyberpunk having the biggest all-time high player count of more than 1 million players, while the last 5 AC games released had an average of 40k all-time high. Although, these are just Steam numbers and so a substantial part of the market count is missing. Still, a 400,000 player count across all platforms seems like an acceptable estimate given the previous performance of AC Shadows. Next is the what. Which are the project's value proposition? What are we offering to the players? Well, this project will focus on developing a game with a game design centered around immersive stealth in an open world, RPG system where classes, builds have stealth foundations, quests that have different outcomes based on players' choices and playstyles, and a narrative around assassins versus Templar philosophies. For the setting, there are many candidates, but mainly we do want the core of the game to be set in a large city with some rural and wild areas surrounding it, similar to the Kuttenberg region in KCD2. And so, how do we envision these elements to look and feel? Let's begin with the immersive stealth design in an open world. We want the game to focus on micro-stealth elements like sounds, visibility, enemy AI, and more. For this, think of an expanded KCD2 stealth system where assassinations have QTEs or QuickTime event inputs, every piece of clothing affects stealth stats, and NPCs remembering opening doors, locking chests, or even the clothes they kept in their storage. Basically, instead of flashy stealth where you click buttons to proc animations, the game will focus on micro elements that would otherwise be ignored or automated in a stealth action game. Think of the mechanics in the Thief games expanded into an open-world RPG. A crime system with pros and cons will also be developed, wherein getting caught has penalties like XP reduction and decrease in reputation. But also going into prison will allow you to interact with criminal elements, like meeting mafia-like bosses that can provide unique bonuses and accessing secret prison merchants. This is to incentivize players to accept going into prison and not just reloading their saves to avoid the penalties. Next, we'll also have an RPG system where classes or builds have stealth foundations. In the previous Assassin's Creed RPGs, we had warrior, ranger, assassin archetypes that the games used to categorize abilities and stats. We would like to move away from that conventional design and introduce the Ghost, Reaper, Chameleon archetypes. The Ghost will focus on builds that avoid detection, bypass enemies non-lethally, and cleaning up evidence. The Reaper will focus on skills and abilities for lethal agents who may get detected but have the ability to deal with head-on danger and then disappear. Then there's the Chameleon, a social stealth master focused on using persuasion and or intimidation skills over combat or physical abilities. Player builds can have overlaps between these archetypes as they can pick individual abilities from each archetype tree. This will allow players to create unique builds, giving them deep role-playing potential. Furthermore, level and overall gameplay designs will revolve around the Ghost, Reaper, and Chameleon archetypes. This is to ensure that player builds will feel impactful. Speaking of level design, quests will have different outcomes based on player choices and playstyles. Choices will affect the world and how the player is seen by NPCs and factions. It may also be worth exploring a system that allows a player to befriend factions. And then certain actions related to a faction can affect the relationship with another. Another thing to explore is the ability of side quests to have an effect on other missions and maybe even on main missions. This can incentivize exploration outside the main narrative. As for the main narrative, we wanted to focus on internal philosophical conflicts in the main character and side characters too. While specifics are to be decided, the main character is idealized to be the sole survivor of a brotherhood purged by the Templars. They will meet a variety of characters that will challenge or strengthen their assassin ideals. This exploration of ideals may also be explored through gameplay choices as they decide whether to play lethally or non-lethally. Something to throw in there as well is perhaps a narrative around a Templar turned assassin may also work in this type of setting. Now for the when. This is basically release dates, playtest dates, and similar stuff. For this project, we can see it coming out one game after AC Hexe, so basically a 2029 or 2030 release date. And so yeah, this is my idea brief for a different kind of Assassin's Creed RPG. Let me know what you think.
I'll meet here again.